Protesters took to the streets of Canada's largest city again today. We've seen these demonstrations across North America and around the world in the aftermath of the death of George Floyd. The 46-year-old black man died in police custody. His last moments were captured on video, showing a police officer pinning him to the ground with a knee on his neck. Floyd's death has galvanized people to stand up against racism and call for an end to police violence against marginalized communities. Sean O'Shea reports.
The cries for change. For a second day in Toronto, anti-racism protesters carried signs and a clear message.
No justice, no peace. We just want equality. Black people have been treated unfairly for so long, and we're talking about 400 years plus, and enough is enough.
The death of George Floyd in police custody in Minneapolis last month has fueled more of this. No peace. A push for equal rights, fairness, and safety when dealing with police.
And the fact that it had to be so many lives had to be killed in order for this step to happen, yeah.
We need a change, and I just think that the time is now.
Black Lives Matter.
This march, carefully organized and peaceful. Those calling for change come from many walks of life. A mother and father who brought their 8-year-old. For a family, there are lessons in all this.
So it's very important for us to convey this kind of a possible continuity to younger generations so that they also will take part in this larger struggle.
Demonstrators knelt and were asked to reflect silently before making their walk to the Ontario legislature. Others knelt outside the United States consulate, pausing to respect the memory of George Floyd. Waiting for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the amount of time George Floyd was on the ground before he died.
And I support their cause, and I support exactly what they're doing, and I think that the fact that they're showing such a demonstration for change is what we want.
His death, what many hope will be a lightning rod for change.
And honestly, enough is enough, and we want everything that's fair.
Sean O'Shea, Global News, Toronto.
A separate protest has been winding its way through the streets of Toronto, ending at Ontario's legislature, and that's where we find Global Toronto's Farah Nasser. Farah, give us a sense of what the crowds were like, and were they peaceful?
They were absolutely peaceful, Robin, peaceful but passionate. And the other thing that we saw is quite a bit of restraint from the part of police. They really gave these protesters space to send their message out. In fact, just moments ago here, the small group that's left of protesters asked the officers in front of the Ontario legislature to take a knee. And when they didn't do that, they threw a water bottle at the police. There were no arrests and no one was hit. But this was definitely a peaceful protest. And among the crowd, the family of a man named DeAndre Campbell, a 26-year-old who was shot and killed by police in his Brampton home after he called 911, saying that he was having a mental health crisis. The Ontario Special Investigations Unit is investigating the case, but his aunt says you don't need to look at the states for cases and issues between police and the black community.
This whole family is traumatized.
Yeah.
They don't have to live with this. They don't have to live with this. Look at this is his family. Look at their faces. They traumatize a generation of the family for the rest of their lives. We're traumatized.
Farah, who are the organizers of this particular protest, and how is it different from the others?
The organizers say that they are volunteers, they're students and various community members. They say they are not affiliated with Black Lives Matter. In fact, Black Lives Matter put out a tweet saying that it is not organizing any of the protests happening this weekend. But organizers do tell me that they have been helping behind the scenes. We saw about 5-6 different protests happening at one time here in the city of Toronto. And as you can see, things have now winded down. Robin.
Farah Nasser in Toronto.